YouTube friends and family. Bad Wolf. All right. So you're checking in because you want to find out how to deal with debt collections, debtors, creditors. Basically, you're probably being harassed by phone calls. Don't feel ashamed. I've been there. I think I still even have some ghost debts out there, and we'll get to explaining all that stuff too. So let's just jump right into it. Thank you, by the way, for all the support. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that bell, like, subscribe. And as you see, the channel is growing. So appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it, guys. All right. Without further ado, number one, you have rights. Okay. So under the federal it's the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, okay, which used to be the Federal Consumer Reporting Agency. These people are the ones who back you up. Okay, so when they're bothering you, let's say they're calling you too much. All right, these are the people you're going to be able to report them to. So I'm just going to kind of go through a quick list of things. I could spend countless hours. I could make a ton of videos on this, but I'm going to give you guys the hard crash course through this. So basically, let's get going here. All right. So first off, other than that, first of all, you have got rights. Number two, these debts will expire. Okay, so at the end of the day, most of them are only going to be on there from 6 years, 10 years, some of them maybe even 20, but they do fall off. So don't freak out. They're not like your permanent record, if you will. So it is what it is. If you're like me and you were at a point where, look, man, I can't pay this and I don't want to pay this, or I can't afford to pay this, don't worry about it. Don't trip, because I'm going to get you through all of this. I'm going to tell you guys how to do it, what to do to take care of your situation. So check it out, because I've been through this, all right? Not only for myself personally, but when my father passed away, all his stuff went onto mine because we have the same name. All right. So trust me, I couldn't even get a bank account or anything. All this stuff I'm going through, I went through it personally. 90% of it, like either I went through it or somebody went through it. But anyway, let's go. All right. So what are zombie debts? Zombie debts are basically the debts that you no longer owe them. They've been written off. Like a lot of people don't know that once your original creditor stops pursuing you and they then sell it, okay, and a third party collection agency buys it from them for pennies on the dollar. Once they do that, you no longer technically owe that debt. Yes, they're trying to collect on it, but your original debt was with the original creditor. Excuse me. Once that happens, as long as you don't pay that debtor anything at all, nothing more than $5. Anything more than $5 that you pay them, you are now in a new contractual agreement with them, and you have to pay that. They have legal right to go after you, take you to court, all that other stuff. The other debtors can attempt to take you to court and try and even, send papers and all that stuff. But truly, through the things I know, they're not really supposed to do that. They can try to do that to get a lien or a judgment against you, basically, and then write it off. But what becomes illegal is that they're writing off the debt, and the original people who you owe the debt to are writing it off. Okay, so if the original people wrote it off, and then yet they sold it to somebody else, they're profiting twice. That's illegal. You can't profit twice off the same debt. Okay, so that's one little note to put into your either your mind or your letter or whatever. And at the end of this, I'll probably mention, if I forget, I'll just say it now. I do have a letter that I have used countless times against them, and it has been 99% effective on either wiping the debt, canceling the debt, whatever else, negating it, for that. And then, of course, later on, you're going to want to use like a credit wipe letter to restore your credit and to challenge certain things on there. I think I have that one as well. Either way, as I always say, first off, just search Google or Yahoo or whatever else and get it free. You know what I mean? If you want from me, yes, I do have my personal ones available. But like I said, I try to do everything the free way, so I'm trying to tell you guys just to do it the free way. If you absolutely want to get my version of it, and remember this is for educational purposes only, um, I can definitely sell you that for, I don't know, donation somewhere around 30 or 40 bucks, something like that. If you see this and you want it, just message me. You guys know how to, and just send that donation over, and I'll send you that letter. But you can just go on the internet and search it for, various versions of it for free. So just trying to keep it free for you. And people are always like, dude, how come you don't just ask for a straight out amount of money? Or how come I'm not doing this for the money? I have a job where I do that, and I have side hustles. So it's not like I'm out here for the money. This is for the knowledge to help people who are in the position that I was once in. But hey, if you're going to send it, which you guys have, thank you. There's even been people who've sent money just because they're like, man, you seem like a cool dude. I definitely appreciate that, man. That goes to help keep the lights on, the gas in the car. It helps me to study more of this stuff, passport stuff, everything. So I definitely appreciate it. A lot of you guys are amazing out there. I appreciate it. All right, so let's keep going. Next up is beware of scammers. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of scammers out there. You have the right through the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau basically to contact them to see if this debt is real. If you don't recognize it, you can report it to them. You can tell them to send you something in writing. And if you don't feel that it's a real thing, don't pay it. Just let it be. And let's see. If these people contact you by phone and you engage in conversation with them, you have the right. You basically could be reanimating the situation, the problem, because they know that it's you, and then you basically allowing the controversy to begin like that or rekindle. You're basically reopening that. So don't really do that. All right. You are entitled to written verification. So if they really think that the debt is, you legit tell them, hey, okay, send it to me in writing with the original creditor on there, the exact amounts, how they came to that kind of information. Because you can dispute any debts no matter what. It's not like they're just sending you this. They have to dispute it, and they have to provide a resolution and the information to you at the most up to 30 days. They have to respond to you within that time frame, otherwise it's considered null and void. Debt collectors cannot just inflate what they owe. They have to be able to validate it and prove it. So the next one up, you can ask them to stop calling. You can also ask them to only request to be contacted by a letter, okay? And say on there, cease and desist. Otherwise, there's a penalty. The legal fine is up to like $1,200, $1,500 per call after being notified. You can tell them you've got 5 days, upon receipt to basically stop. And if you want to get really jazzy with them, you can do something along the lines of saying, hey, if you want to talk to me during business hours, which are between, whatever's convenient for you, and my going rate, put this all in the letter, and say it's, $5 or $10 a minute if you want to talk to me about my debt. That's what you got to pay. You'll see how quickly they won't want to contact you at that point in time. You can also tell them that, if you're going to call me, you can only call between, say Monday between, 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Those are my only hours I'm accepting phone calls. Anything outside of that, you'll be fined for, or I'm charging for. So you can do things like that. Too many calls to you are illegal. Debt collectors can call your contacts and your friends that you put down in your your original application for the loan or whatever else. But you can also send them a letter basically saying that these people are not to be contacted, because I no longer have any association with them, blah blah blah, and leave it at that. And if they give out any personal information, really, you can sue them for that. And of course, these accounts can appear or may not appear on your credit report. That just depends upon them. Not all of them will report the debt, period. Some of them won't report it right away. Collectors, after they've bought it from the primary party, cannot put that on your credit report. They are not supposed to be able to do that because you do not have an original debt with them. So if you see something like that, you can challenge that. Okay. Most collectors will negotiate because they bought that for a fraction. If you owe like 10 grand, they probably pay 2 grand or something like that. So they're hoping to like get 5. If you want to pay it off, you can definitely negotiate and say, hey, I'm willing to give you, 1,000 for it or 2,000. What did you pay for it? And I'll pay you, that or a little bit more, something like that. So some of the secrets that you can actually go, hit them with too is asking them for the original contract or a copy of the original contract bearing your signature, which is what allows you to be in that position in the first place. And if they can't produce that, then there is nothing they can do. It's null and void, just like that. I've used that one before. That's one of the questions in my letter that I've submitted to these people. And so don't get it wrong, I've definitely tangled with, LAWYERS before in this, and these things are factual. You're protected, but and even though it might seem kind of, I guess, shady, like, oh, well, how you got off on a debt because they didn't have your original signature or contract. Well, that's part of the deal. They have to maintain my original contract, my original signature, all that stuff. Sometimes you can even apply for credit cards over the phone and they don't have a copy of your signature. If there's no signature, it's not a valid contract. Huzzah. So they're dirty for what they're doing. They have enough money to take you to court and screw over your credit and ruin you for the next 10 to 20 years of your life. You can get off on a technicality like I've done many times on tickets with cops. That's what you do. If you have it, So going right along, the debt itself won't land you in jail. So they are not allowed to threaten you. They are not allowed to scare you, yell at you, give you a time frames of, damage to you or your property, any of that stuff like that. It's illegal for them to send you to jail for a debt. Debtor's jail. You can't do that. That's against the law. So don't let them fool. I had them even say that they were coming to my front porch. They were on their way. I mean, I was ready to like run and scream and go get the itchy and have to deal with some, because I was like, you're not finna just come up in here and just do this stuff. But some of these people aren't trained the proper way, so they will use whatever tactics they think will work, to get you. So small payments. If you want to make payments, you can negotiate with them to see what works for you, and just kind of go from there. Skipping the court date. I don't recommend doing that, but at the same time, and one of the things here it says that it can lead to garnishment. They're not supposed to be able to garnish you because that's not only the original creditor, possibly, but also one of the things in my letter is the fact that most of these are going to be unsecured debts. Okay, they can't technically and truly garnish you for an unsecured debt. It's a signature loan at that point in time. And so, and there's other things like this I have in my letter, which is why I got off on my credit card debts and some loans and stuff. Back when I was, younger and not so wise with my money, we'll just say. So you want to try to avoid skipping the date. It's, or if you don't want to go, like I said, I have a letter that you can send into the lawyers or to the judge, and it'll 99% of the time it takes care of the problem. Now, I'm not saying this works for every situation, because I don't know what everyone's in. A lot of people have been buying stuff and just like, okay, I'm just going to throw this at this. Once again, has this stuff worked for me? But are there situations that there could be things I don't know about? So I can't give you the super silver bullet on things. This is just for, average things. I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying don't expect for somebody not to know the full ins and outs of your situation. All right, because I'm not practicing law. I'm not a lawyer or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just a guy who's gone through a lot of stuff and giving the truth of what the remedies I've had to use to get out of my particular circumstances. Hence why I always say educational purposes only. But if you happen to get garnished, which can happen, there's ways to get out of the federal IRS system, which I've talked about some of that in my other videos. State State's a little bit more difficult because you're probably a citizen of, and so it's a little harder. They can, so you might have to negotiate. It just depends. Um, but typically, your assets should be protected, and there's ways to protect that. If you haven't watched some of my other videos, filing a UCC-1 against yourself will protect that from garnishes and them taking your assets. A judgment isn't always final, and yes, you can sue a debt collector. Debt collectors, if they do something, the FDCPA is who you're going to want to contact and sue them if they've done something. And even if they're contacting you from a wrong or expired number that's no longer in existence for somebody else, you can go after them because they're still harassing you. These robo calls, you can get them for that too. Let's see here. You can also hire a lawyer, but keeping in mind what I said about them, they do work for the bar and they do take their allegiance to the fact that you are now claiming yourself to be an imbecile, and that you're basically a ward of the state, and so they must represent you. And their first priority is to the bar and their fellow people in that system. But if you're going to be able to afford them, unless they're a family or friend one that's cheap, you might as well just negotiate with the bill collectors and get them to bring that down. Okay. Bankruptcy is an option, but I wouldn't recommend that just because of how long it's going to take and what it does to your credit. There's ways around that to get new credit and to wipe out the old credit. It takes time, yada, yada, yada. All I will say is this: when I was facing something like that, it took a little. It's not the magic bullet, but like I said, you can find sample letters online. I have my version of all that I've used to negate these various situations. And after that, you basically are going to want to pull your own credit, challenge not everything. You're going to want to challenge like maybe 30 or 40% of what's on there. And then maybe like at the end of the year or next year for sure, challenge the remaining things until you can get those things wiped out. Like I said, I've got the letters, for that kind of stuff. And then if you do it all too quickly or all at the same time, they're going to deny it and say, no, you're just trying to wipe your credit and stuff, and so they're not going to do it. I've tried that for years and found that once every 6 to 12 months, 14 months, they will work with you, but they're not going to let you just do a clean swipe. But you can form a company, and with that company, with that new number, you can build that credit from zero. And then, piggyback yours on there to kind of help build your credit up that way. Or all on your own. You challenge, and then you're going to want to get yourself like a secured credit card. I think it's like through appliedbank.com. They have one. You pay like $200. They give you a card. And then let's say you get like 2 or 3 of those, and don't max them out. You just utilize them a little bit, pay them off at the end of each month. That will build your credit. Okay, so you don't really need all these crazy things. So other tricks and techniques and tips. Basically, if they start sending, letters, like I said, don't let it get you down. Don't let it scare you. Pay them if you want to pay them. If you don't want to pay them and can't pay them, then don't start. Okay, because if you start, you're in a contract with them, and that's just what it is. Now you have to pay them. Now it's a direct relationship, and so they basically take the position of the primary, which means now you have a new contractual agreement. Okay, but if you don't start paying them, they can't put that on your credit. They can't do inquiry. Oh, they can do like a soft inquiry to see what's going on, but they can't do a hard pull. And if you didn't authorize any of that, you can contest that and have those removed as well. So that's basically about it, guys. Those are some of the tips and tricks and techniques and thoughts on dealing with collections and creditors. And hopefully that helps you guys. At the end of the day, if you were looking for that concrete, how do I just get rid of this debt, or how do I just get them to stop? Just go online and type in like sample letter to creditor, and or stopping the collection calls, something like that, and that'll do it. Even though I just told you, if you want the actual letter, that's one way. Like I said, the other way would be to hit me up, and if I got time, I'll get all that together and send it to you for low donation. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I will talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out with the wolf, and I will have more videos as soon as possible. So as long as you guys keep liking them, I will keep making them. If there's something specific you want me to look into, let me know. And I will do my best if I've got time to check it out, especially if it's interesting. I mean, don't throw like cooking recipes or whatever else, unless you guys want to know how to make some like ribs or something. I'm really good at those. Other than that, take care, guys. I appreciate your time taking this day out of your beautiful life with your family and friends and whatever else to find out this information. So if you need it, hopefully this really does help you, because I know it has definitely been something that has helped me. So talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bad Wolf, gone, never out.